Welcome to Uncontained episode 124. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and over the weekend there was a huge loss in the hard rock metal community, especially if you're a Pantera fan, like many of us are. Pantera drummer Vinnie Paul has passed away, and that was the first thing I saw when I opened up my social media over the weekend. I'm just lucky I had a chance to enjoy his music and also had a chance to meet him on a couple of occasions. No, I'm not saying we were close. I'm not trying to jump on the I know Vinnie Paul bandwagon, but I have friends that do, and my condolences go out to them and to the Abbott family, because losing two sons can't be easy. But I do have a good show lined up for you today. On the show today, I have Jonny Gomez. He is the singer/guitarist for the band She Waves the Flag, and we talk about where they got the inspiration for the name of the band. We talk about why they took such a long hiatus and what inspired them to get the band back together again, along with some things he's learned over the years playing music, and also get talking about ghost stories and childhood stars that have, partied a little too hard. So that's all coming up. I also got a track for you off of their new album, The Ghost I'm Leaving. This is Trace.
Every time
how's it going today, Johnny?
It's going well.
Great. Thank you for joining me here on Uncontained. And kind of made the connection with you through a mutual friend / acquaintance on my side, and Starbucks.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored by Starbucks, but Andy, it's Ortega?
Yeah.
All right. Andy Ortega, he kind of helped set this up. I got talking to him about the show, and he's like, dude, I got this guy. He's in this band, and you should talk to him. So here we are.
Shout out Andy.
Shout out to Andy. Got to give some love, you know?
Absolutely.
So, so he helped set this up. You are in a band.
I am in a band.
It's called She Waves a Flag.
Yep.
And where did that name come from?
So the name actually came from our first practice when we got together when I was 16. So that was in 2008. And the first song we ever practiced together was Fortunate Son by Creedence.
Okay.
And the first line of that song, some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, that red, white, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, it was, you know, a 16-year-old mind. Like, oh, let's put a she in front of it. And I don't know.
But it's kind of cool that it goes back to Creedence.
Yeah.
And isn't John Fogerty like kind of from the Bay Area?
He's local as far as I know, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think it was like North Bay or something like that. But I learned that when I moved out here. So,
right on.
But I've always kind of liked Creedence, Proud Mary, and Bad Moon on the Rise.
Yeah.
So
run through the jungle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
gotta get down.
There are many worse places where you could have got a name from than Creedence.
That's very true. That is very true.
Yeah. So I was listening to this Limp Bizkit song.
Yeah, for real. I mean, there's a lot of material. Like
that's why we named our band Nookie.
You know, like I've heard plenty of band names that are really interesting, that are from really obscure references and things that.
Yeah.
But and I know that's kind of obscure, like our name in general, but it is what it is. You know?
It is what it is, my
it's
friend.
Stuck.
All right, yeah. And okay, so you said you formed the band back when you were like 16.
Yeah.
All right, you played for a few years and then you took a really long hiatus.
Yeah, that's true.
What was it that made you guys decide to get the band back together?
So to get the band back together was pretty interesting because basically I moved away from my bandmates for a long time.
Okay.
And I got married and like a bunch of other stuff in our lives were going on. And by happenstance, I got an apartment in Fremont and I was down the street in between two of the members of the band, Nick and Andre. Who are some of my best friends in the whole world, and we just started playing around like, hey, you know, let's get together, let's get in the garage, let's start, you know, just playing, you know, and then just one thing led to another, and it was like, you know what, there's no reason why we shouldn't just like pick it back up and just play. I mean, it's the cliche, like, let's get the band back together, man, you know, like whatever, but it just felt right, and I mean, I know that I'm like in my element in this group. I play in a lot of other bands too.
Okay.
And this particular band is special to me, and it feels like I can really like unload.
Gotcha.
So,
was this your first band then, or?
It wasn't my first band, but it was my, I mean, I guess first serious band, like first band that I actually was like writing my own material and like putting, you know, actual songs together and stuff.
Okay. All right. So I could see why there's some like sentimental attachment and familiarity with the people in the band. So you sing and play guitar. Who are the other people in the band and what do they do?
So one of my best friends, Nick, he plays bass right now. He used to do handheld growling, screaming.
Okay.
He's still doing that, but he's playing bass now. He's doing very well. I think that he, in the time that we didn't play, like both Andre, who's the lead guitar player, and Nick have like really improved and like gotten so good at guitar. It's like amazing. Like I'm just really blown away by how well they've improved, and yeah, it's like they're way better than me, and like, you know, like, so yeah, it's really cool. And then Dan plays drums, and Dan's one of the most important people in my life, I'd say. I met Dan at Starbucks as well.
Man, this might as well be sponsored by Starbucks.
I know. Howard Schultz should like just make a dating website or something. No, I'm just kidding. Like, you know, like, I don't know.
Or an entertainment band networking
For
website.
real, yeah. Well, yeah. And Dan, yeah. So I know he's probably doesn't mind me bragging about him a little bit, but he was a pretty high level college football player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was a really good drummer too. And he just kind of like me meeting him like transformed my approach to life. Because like, I mean, if you notice, like, I don't know, like when we were outside, like I was looking at myself thinking about how bad my posture was, because like I've been hung over like a computer desk or a guitar for like, you know, ever. And Dan, I'd never worked out or did anything, and Dan like kind of got me into like working out and all that. But so we were good friends before, and then we tried another project called Bound by Vows that ultimately didn't work out, but we've been playing music for a while, and then this kind of just felt like a natural plug because he wasn't the original drummer for the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is he new to this version of the band then?
Yeah.
Or okay, he wasn't there before the hiatus?
Yes.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, man, so who did he play for?
Who did Dan play for?
Yeah, in college.
Oh, he played for Kansas Wesleyan. It's a D2 school.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the players he played with like went on to the NFL and like, you know, so it wasn't like D1 but I mean, D2 is like, that's still a really high level.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It means you kicked ass in high school. You know, like you were probably the best person in your district in high school.
Yeah, very.
So
that's something to respect right there too. And,
for sure.
Okay, so just to transition a little bit here, like kind of a harsh transition, but you have a new CD out, The Ghost I'm Leaving. How can people get a hold of this, and where can they find it, I guess?
Okay, yeah. So it's on iTunes and Spotify, Apple Music, all those digital outlets. But yeah, we have, like I said, the physical CDs. Like I still believe in them. Like we were talking briefly outside. Like I still believe in them, and I think, yeah, we'll probably do like some standalone, like because that makes sense, just the way how fast paced everything is now. Mm-hmm. But I still like albums alone because I feel like it's a better representation of where an artist is, you know, because it's all of the feelings and emotions for a particular, and like with this album that were felt at a certain time. It's like a time capsule. So for that reason, I would say that like I'll probably will still be making albums. I don't know if that was the question.
No, yeah. That's cool. That's a great answer. There's sort of a nostalgia like with an actual CD. I understand what you're saying with that. But one thing that like I think is cool about the albums, it's like you release it and then everything's there right at once. Yeah. With the releasing it track by track, with the way the attention span is these days.
Agreed.
You know, you stay relevant.
Absolutely.
Like, it's like, oh, another track's coming out by these guys, another track's coming out by these guys, instead of them getting it all at once.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to have both, though. Like, have both of the option. Maybe you have to release so many, release the album or whatever, you know?
It makes sense. I mean, everything like from the way that streaming services are set up and the way that, you know, the way that video games like DLC and like things like that, like everything is like kind of spaced out, because I feel like companies and, you know, in this sense, like artists, they probably know that they're vying actually for a slice of time, you know, in a person's day or life or whatever. I mean, ultimately that's what you're doing when you're selling anything that's going to be consumed, you know, unless it's food, you know, but like, I mean, even then, but anyway,
still, yeah, you got to take time to eat it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're trying to get people in your store or something.
Yeah.
So
that's why they sell it fast. The fast food. We don't even need much of your time. Just come here, grab it, go, get out of here.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to keep making albums, but I totally see, you know, that's probably the way things have gone, the way things will be, you know.
But yeah, you know, I'm not in a band, so don't let me tell you.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm not like, you should really do this, and
no.
The next step is this.
It's just wise. That's all I'm saying. It's like it's wise. Like I'm just hearing it and I'm just acknowledging it's wise.
But yeah, there is something about actually holding on to a CD in your hands, looking at the cover art, and like opening it up and seeing the liner notes, who wrote what, who put what into what.
Yeah.
So that is part of the reason why records are coming back as well, too.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's always a nostalgia factor.
Absolutely.
All right, so another thing to keep you in the minds of people, you guys have a music video coming out, right?
We do, yeah. We did a video for a song called Another Voice, which is, I believe, song 5 on the record. And we did it at Cody's studio. Cody Fuentes is the engineer who engineered the record and produced it. And yeah, one of our good friends from back in the day. Our bands played together, when we were teenagers and stuff. And now his band Spite's like taken off and like they're a big deal. And they're really good. And so we went to his live room and we did a video there with his crew, Films and Noises, and it was a lot of fun and it was cool. And I think it's not like it doesn't have like a narrative or anything. It's just us playing, but it's all the emotion and all of the feelings and all of the everything is. We just wanted to play and let our faces and our emotions and our energy kind of draw the narrative.
So it's a live performance video.
Yeah, no cutaway scene.
And The Ghost I'm Leaving, and that's the name of the album. What is the album about?
So the entire record is, and I think that the other lyricist, Nick, who does the screaming vocals, would probably have his own unique take on it. But when we sat down, it was a loose concept album. Okay. And it's a ghost story. From my perspective, is the way I approached it was it's a ghost story as a metaphor for things that I experienced growing up and things that I'm, that kind of haunt me. And I think he would say the same thing, things that haunt him as well. And The Ghost I'm Leaving, basically that whole line in general, just the line in the first song, the intro, and then the second song, Trace, in the bridge is heart's only beating for the ghost I'm leaving. And it's just, that's the only thing that I'm consumed with is the person that I leave behind, the memory that I leave behind, because I feel no shame, and I don't want to beat a dead horse by, if any of my friends listen to this but I mean, I grew up in foster care. So definitely battled a lot of things and seen a lot of things growing up that, I had a lot of good things happen to me too that kind of removed me from some kind of heinous things that could have been a lot worse. Like my brother got a lot worse than I did. But I'm consumed with, I am going to be the change. Like I'm not going to, the ghost I'm leaving is all that matters to me. That's really,
wow.
Yeah.
So basically it's about like what you're going to change in your life is like, so like if you have kids or whatever, you're not going to let them go the foster care route.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow.
100%. Yeah.
Wow. Deep, man. But like it sucks to have to go through something like that, but I'm sure it helped shape you in some way.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't want to go all like Oprah on you. Or something like that. I'm not looking for tears. I feel
you take one look at me and you're like, yeah, and then I'm kind of nutty and zany, so
it's all good, man.
Yeah,
it's all good. That's better than all stuffy,
Absolutely, yeah. It could be a lot worse, though. That's the one thing you learn.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Like my listeners have heard me talk about this a little bit. So like I didn't grow up in foster care or anything, but like I grew up with a seizure disorder, and also when I was 27, I went blind in my right eye. Oh. So things happen, and like you have a choice whether you can let them like drag you down, like that ghost in the back, not leave that ghost, let it hang around, pull you back in, like the lobster in the pot pulling the crab in the pot pulling the other crabs back in, or like what I did, like shortly after the whole eye incident. It was more like, okay, I can either sit in the corner and cry about this, or just get used to bumping into shit every once in a while and get on with it, and make fun of, make a few jokes, move on past it.
Yeah.
And
there's you become a fighter pretty quick, I would say. And definitely, I mean, it isn't exclusive to foster care, like you said. I mean, in general, you're going to run into things in life that are unexpected or things that are just like heinous, like I said. I use that word. And it's I believe it's a Bruce Lee comment where he said that life is, 90% or 10% what happens to you and 90% how do you react to it.
That's a good quote.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that, it's one of those things. I live in
It might be paraphrased.
Yeah, we live in the age of the internet, so that might be a mythology, like, or some voodoo or something.
It was actually Einstein that said that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You never know. Like, you got to be careful. Like, but yeah, just, you're going to run into things in life, and like the track 3, Dead and Gone, like, that's a big one for me because it's all about just the rage that I feel when I am coming up against something and like and trying, and it's opposing what I told you right there, that my life mission, which is to be the change in my family. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I know your friends will be like, dude, you always talk about that, the foster care thing, as you kind of mentioned there, but it's your story, man. Put it out there. And you never know, it may help somebody else that's going through that same shit.
It's important to me. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about me, honestly. It's like one of those things I don't feel like, and I think that it's important that people open up about things that they're going through or things that have shaped them, because and I know that, because if you listen to the record, it's kind of, I guess, and I've been categorized as an emo kid, whatever, but like, whatever. I mean, you got to be who you are, and that's the thing is like, and there's always going to be some naysayer or somebody knocking on your door being like, with a stink face, and they honestly, everybody's got an opinion, man. Like, and people want to believe that their opinions matter, like that, but really, it's your experience, so only you can really dictate, the scorecard, the wins and losses or whatever. So
yeah, wow. That's a good outlook, man. That's a really good outlook. I appreciate you sharing that with me, man.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, speaking of like Mindspace and stuff like that, how has the
MySpace? Which was great for bands, by the way.
MySpace, Mindspace. But back in the day, it probably was when your band was first around. It was.
Oh
MySpace.
yeah, it was MySpace. It definitely was, and like I miss it. I mourn MySpace every day. I wake up, and it's part of my ritual. I look to the sun, and I'm like, MySpace, where did you go?
You're like, Tom, why did you leave
Tom,
me?
why did you sell the company? Because it was way better for bands. I work at Facebook, but honestly, Facebook is like not as good at all. And I have talked to people who work in music at Facebook, and I'm telling them, like, yo, we need a dedicated music player. We need a way to get music out there, because it's garbage.
Yeah, it would be cool to have a dedicated music player like on that. The only thing about MySpace was there was like so much flash going on where it took like forever for a page to play or load, and then like you don't even realize you have the computer sound on for a minute, then all of a sudden the song starts playing. You're like, no, I don't like that.
I know.
Man.
That was one of my favorite things to do to people, though. It's like put a like super death metal song and then like hide the player.
That'd be fine with. But you click on somebody's page and like Britney Spears starts playing or something like that. And it's like, that you're toxic. Hit me, baby.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god! How do I explain this one?
Get in the HTML scripting and hide the player so they can't turn it off. That's what I'm saying. I would do that all the time.
There you go, man.
Absolutely. Anyways, Mindspace.
That's cruel.
Yeah.
Yes. So how has your Mindspace, not MySpace, changed since the first version of She Waves a Flag to this version?
Definitely a lot. I mean, obviously, like, and I'll just quickly rebound into this, I think it was fairly obvious that, like everybody else, I was a teenager playing music, and like it's an outlet, and you're in high school and everything's a popularity contest, and I definitely got swept into that and like trying to be somebody, like, and just kind of like it's a dominance hierarchy, and everybody's, girls like guys who win contests and like are popular. I'm just being real. And like, and like, I think I was
doesn't stop in high school.
I definitely started to believe, like many people do, and are quickly reminded and humbled that that's all that matters, that the dominance hierarchy thing is what really matters in life. But you can peak early and then fizzle out and fade out. And, so definitely that, and the music, like, while I look back at a lot of our old songs, obviously it was a lot more metalcore, I guess you could say. There was more breakdowns and things like that. But, the lyrics were just kind of immature, kind of gobbledygook. But, there's parts of it that I like that we've recycled and like made better, just being kind of immature in general. Like, but now definitely I feel like we kind of made a more coherent, mature kind of vision for this record. So,
and it's good that you have grown, and it's like the bands that first come out with the brutal albums and stuff like that, then they get a little bit of fame, a little bit of money, and it's like hard to stay that same amount of anger when you have like a 5-car garage. You know?
That's very true.
Like
Metallica.
Metallica, or hell, like one of my favorite bands, like growing up, and I still like some of their stuff, but Mudvayne, like with LD50 to like their stuff that came out like a few years ago. Huge difference. Still pretty good, but a completely different band.
Absolutely, it happens with everybody. I feel.
But the only band, as I've said before, that can get away without ever changing is AC/DC.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just a sound.
They even changed singers, and they sounded exactly the same.
Yeah, like I don't know. I like Metallica, and Cody kind of got me, the guy who he produced the record. He definitely got me like into them, because I definitely didn't have a Metallica like phase or anything.
Okay.
But I did later. I did like a year ago. And I just started like really paying attention to them, and I recognized that people like they got real bad like for a while. And but I still just the songwriting, because I'm a songwriter by nature. And that's my function and utility in any group I've been in. So
I'll say it, Saint Anger, man.
I know we always talk about that, man.
That was terrible. Like, and they made like a documentary film to go along with it.
I watched it 50 times at Cody's.
Some kind of monster. It was just like painful to watch, because they were bickering like school children, and like there were parts of it that were funny, but most of it was sad, and they explained why the album sounded like it did. But Death Magnetic actually redeemed them a little bit.
Sure.
So they got like, all right, we're gonna get rid of that crappy sounding snare drum.
Yeah, I know the snare. Yeah, it's what is it? Apple loop snare. It's just like,
It's like, what was Lars thinking?
I know, and it's like he's what's wrong with that band in my opinion, but like he's also what's good about it too in some ways. But like
I hear you. Like his attitude is bad, but the drumming is actually really good.
You seen Some Kind of Monster?
I have. I saw it in theaters.
That's amazing. You're my hero.
It was like a midnight showing, and I was like, let's go see it. Like, one of my best friends growing up was a huge Metallica fan. He's a drummer, and Lars was his like idol growing up. So you got to go see it. And I was like, all right, let's go check it out. And man, it was
painful.
It was painful,
but it's also charming and amazing. Like when Kirk Hammett goes, I know there's a time when we're gonna come together, but I don't know it, and it's very frustrating.
There's also a time in the movie where it's like, can I just say that's bullshit?
Yeah. And then when Lars' dad is like, Lars, if I was you, I would just delete it. It's not good, And I was like, dang, dude, this is dad telling him that. It's real, man.
But that's honesty right there, my friend. That's honesty. So, yeah, all right. Enough knocking or praising Metallica right now. So, how long would you say that you've been involved in music?
So I started playing music, like playing guitar when I was 13. One of my best friends, Chris at the time, started playing, and he was the original guitar player for the band. And so he kind of got me interested in it, and the rest is history, I guess, if that's a little facetious to say, but whatever.
It's the past.
Yeah,
that's history.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, so from when I was 13, I knew that I liked Green Day, like whatever. I didn't know what that was. I just liked, and I know that when I was really little, I liked the Power Rangers because of the theme song, and the reason why, in retrospect, is because of the guitar, and I just always liked it. You know what I mean? Like I've always, and I think a lot of people probably can relate.
Go Power Rangers. I just kind of. I never really was quite into the Power Rangers myself, but
I don't blame you. I'm just saying in general, I liked that show, and I recognize one of the major reasons is because of the guitar.
Johnny, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you.
Thank you.
I'm sure I've liked some shit where it's like, probably shouldn't tell people about that.
I'm a diehard Pokemon fan. Like, I love Pokemon.
I missed the Pokemon phrase. So I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
So
you got to laugh more.
So
at it.
Yeah. I had a little cousin who was like big into Pokemon, had all the games and stuff like that.
Yeah. That was me.
Did you play Pokemon Go when it came out?
I still play it. The game's frustrating though.
It's still around and still.
Yeah, it's still big. 5 million players.
Wow.
At least
Wow.
active, I think, daily. But yeah, I mean, I went to the park by my house and there's like, an 8-year-old person and like a bunch of little kids and a mom and like, a lot of different kind of people play it. So it's cool. Pokemon brings people together,
It does. Well, you got to catch them all, man.
You gotta catch 'em all, dude.
That's
Trade 'em with your
one
friends.
bond everybody can share.
Right?
Maybe bring Pokemon Go down to the border where all that
I
trouble's
know, right?
going on.
Like,
give Trump a phone with it on.
Bring
give
everybody
all the
together.
little immigrant kids a phone with them on, and just all go catch Pokemon.
That's what will heal the divide in this country.
Exactly.
The huge divide.
It will be Pokemon.
Pokemon will do it, but their hearts aren't ready. Their hearts aren't prepared. They're just unwilling to accept Pikachu. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, because they could. Because you could.
You definitely could, my friend.
It's part of my mental health. Okay.
All right,
and
well.
I deserve a clean bill of health.
Yes, and Pokemon is
So-
what helped you get there, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, man. Some people seek therapy. Some people seek metal. Some
Yeah.
people seek Pokemon.
Yeah.
It all goes together. Okay, what advice would you have besides play Pokemon Go for somebody who's interested in getting into music, forming a band, and pursuing music?
So I would just get some of your boys together and do it. That's all. That's all I would say. It's just, I think that a lot of people spend more time talking about being in a band and talking about making records and like going to, coffee shops and sitting down like, hey, let's talk about music instead of actually doing it. And that frustrates me. I mean, at the same time, like, because I've been in that and like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm just being honest, like, it's just frustrating, and I know that like, my personality is because of the way I grew up is I make extreme decisions fast because I have to, because it's the only way I know how to operate. And it's the only, because I can't lose. If I make a grievous error or like take a huge risk and fail, like, then it's a lot more devastating because I don't have a safety net. You know what I mean? Like, I make that sound like a lot more, dramatic, and that's kind of how I am. And if you see the video, you'll be able to tell that pretty quickly that I'm kind of melodramatic. But I mean, I'm just, yeah. So I would just say the thing about art and music that I learned, and like I learned in my last band with, or 2 bands ago with one of my best friends, Levi, is that, when I played with him, I learned how to write songs. Like I learned how to really refine that because he's a really, really good songwriter.
Okay.
And really pay attention to lyrics and we always stressed in our band, it was called Hawkins and Silver, to make things honest. And I didn't really know how to do that. And I made a lot of like kind of weird, obscure poetry before. And like I still kind of do that, but just in general trying to just be honest. So like I would just say, just pick up your instrument or whatever your gift is, singing, piano, guitar, tuba, I don't know, whatever. Triangle, electric triangle, whatever it is.
Electric triangle?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, whatever, and just do it, and just don't do it because you want to get something out of it, because I've been that guy too.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I made a lot of mistakes because of it, and there was a lot of painful things that you have to go through, and through a humbling process and things like that. But in general, you do it because it's who you are, and that's the end of the day. And like She Waves the Flag is like who I am, like in terms of like I put all my guts and all my heart and all my soul into it. And bands come and go. Every band has an expiration date, and that's just the truth. Whether it be a coffin or whatever, I'm just, again, not trying to be melodramatic, just being honest. Like every band is coming to an end. So for me, it's like, if this band comes to an end, I'm still going to be playing music and making records because I've been doing it since I was 15, and I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life. And I don't really care like how it plays out. It's because it's who I am. That's it.
Right on, man. Right on. So you mentioned something that caught my interest when you were playing with your friend Levi. You said you kind of learned how to be more honest in your music. How did you learn how to be more honest, or what was something that you did that made the honesty come through?
Well, I mean, in that band, like, it's funny because it's always like you can write things with metaphors. Like we had a song called Lois Lane. It's like about Superman.
Okay.
And that's important because people don't want to hear you just straight up talking about like, oh, my grandma gave me $5 on my birthday. But I don't know. But that's also good too, because there's a guy, I think literally just pulled that out of a recess of my brain, but I think that's literally a line in one of his songs. His name's John Moreland. It's like a indie country guy, and he's like, my grandma gives me $10 on my birthday. So that can work.
I could see that working in country music.
Yeah, right? Like, but because people do forget, and I think some people probably are going to not like my band and maybe not like my video. But the thing is music is theater, and playing live is theater. And so you do need to be theatrical. And the best bands, like some of the best bands in history, like Queen and like these big, rock opera, Pink Floyd and like all the, it's opera, it's theater. But to be honest, I just decided that I was going to be exactly who I am, and I'm not going to, it was around this time when I was coming out of the whole popularity, higher dominance thing. And I'm just going to be who I am, and I'm always been a love it or leave it kind of person. And there's plenty of people who just would prefer to leave it, and that's fine. But in general, like, I just think it's important to use sweeping metaphors and things like that, but just talk exactly about what you know.
Okay.
And for me, I cannot sing about anything that's not real to me. And everything, I mean every single word that I say on the record. And that's important to me. And I mean, a lot of people and artists go, and make it big or go to Hollywood or whatever, and then they get signed and they get fat or whatever, and then they just sing whatever they want, or they'll sing whatever. Somebody will put a sheet in front of them, some guy who wrote their songs for them. Yeah. And that makes them a lot of money, and that works. And they might even retroactively say, okay, there's a feeling that they get from it and they can see, but that's just not me. I don't know if I could do that. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns, dude. Stick to your guns.
Yeah.
So do you. That Oscar Wilde quote, be yourself because everybody else is already taken, or something like that.
That's good.
So
yeah.
That is a very true quote. All you can do is try to be yourself, and can't please fucking everybody.
I know, right?
If you try, you end up pleasing nobody.
Exactly.
To make even more quotes, but I don't know who that one went to.
I have one that I actually made up myself that I say is like, if you live for people's acceptance, you'll die by their rejection. And that's just the truth. Like, and I've been that guy too. And I've died by a lot of people's rejection before. And it's like, I didn't recognize that. No. And you can go off the rails and be like, and go off the end and be like, oh, well, I'm all great. I'm all that. And I've been that guy too. But, in general, you have to be in the middle and recognize that you are a person of value no matter who you are. And that you need to find that value in yourself,
That's a great quote, dude. Say that one more time.
If you live for people's acceptance, you'll die by their rejection.
That is very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So what are you currently doing to promote yourself? I know you have one music video coming out, and that's coming out early July, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing in addition?
So definitely things slowed down a lot after the record came out. The record came out on the 30th of March. And then we just had a lot of finals, like a lot of us are in college, working on our masters, bachelors, whatever. So a lot of things kind of came in the way with butted up with real life, but we wanted to release the video, and we have merch coming too. And we have it all ready to go pretty much. But things change and things kind of were pushed out of the way, but we're planning on doing another video this summer, at least one more, maybe two. For the life of this record. And then there was talks about doing an acoustic version of all the songs, which I know my mom will be pleased with. But
like, Johnny, I can listen to this.
I know, exactly, which frustrates me, but it's a generational thing. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Not too many parents of people in metal bands or hard rock bands will dive into an album and actually get it,
Yeah. I was going to say... the beauty of coming out of hiatus and all that is we're kind of essentially starting from zero. So that's why we weren't really butthurt about how long things took, because things took really long making the record. But here's the thing. We've only been in the practice studio for a year.
Okay.
We got back together a year ago, maybe a year and a month ago. So, I mean, that was actually a really fast turnaround for a band to come out with a record to play off of, to be, practiced and ready. Our live show's ready to go. It's been ready for about a month or two. And we're ready. We're going to be playing some shows. We got a manager now, things are just, we're kind of like the little engine that could, though. We're just going to ride the wave a little bit of whatever.
Right on,
California.
Yeah, the surfing engine that could.
Yeah.
All right. So you have another music video possibly coming out. So what songs are you planning on making music videos for?
So definitely Bottomless Slide, which is track 4. And a lot of people tell me that that's their favorite song on the record. It's like just a banger, like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. I really want to do Dead and Gone, because I feel that song more than, I mean, I love all of the songs on this record and I believe in them. I just feel like Dead and Gone, like I said, rock and roll to me is about having a temper tantrum on stage. Like that's essentially what rock and roll is a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And and everybody kind of has that caveman, just like primal, that they just, if they're honest. If
I
you're
say
honest,
it's kind of like a temper tantrum with grit.
Yeah.
Like just a temper tantrum on stage. That I'd probably throw that towards the emo side.
Yeah.
I know you said you got claimed called emo before, but
Well, that's true. Like, I'm being real. I'm owning it.
Like if you throw in like a little bit of grit with it, a little bit of like attitude to it, then I don't really view it as just having a little temper tantrum on stage.
I don't know. When I see Robert Plant and I see I look back at that and I'm like, I can relate to it because it's just like, I mean, there's always something about music in general that's kind of like ethereal. That's kind of like, and that's why people like it, is because they're connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something like, like I said, just like primal, like that about being human and music, and like that makes us like, and for me, the one that's easy to, there's a reason why people sing about love more than anything else, is because it's relatable. And then in rock music, they sing about rage, like they sing about anger,
Yeah.
And rebellion and all that. So I can relate to all of that. And that's why, that's why I picked that song, is because I have so much fun, and live I change up some of the timbre of my voice and things like that, just in general. And even since the record came out, I feel like I've gotten better, and like my vocal style has changed a little bit too. So, it's like almost screaming, like almost like yelling. And it feels good. I don't know how to explain it. It feels good, man. I don't know.
Right on, dude.
Yeah.
Right on. So, now what would you say would be a highlight or two that, you'd want to share with the Uncontained audience?
So, we played a barn that I tell this story all the time. We played a farm show.
Yeah.
When we were and my friend Kenny Turner and his band Beg for Death, they played before us. And I think it was before us. I'm not sure. But anyways, the point is there was a paisa, like a vaquero, like a Mexican cowboy.
Okay.
On a horse in the pit, doing the little strut walk thing, the thing they do, when they show horses and all that. And my friend Kenny Turner goes, "All right, this is in between songs. This next song's for the horse." It was amazing. And I'll take that to my grave. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we're just a bunch of suburb kids playing. Like, we played our teen center a million times, and went on tour. So that was probably the highlight. Went on tour, and just the whole West Coast thing, pretty much everything west of the Mississippi River, and that was memorable and good and a lot of fun. And I think that's what caused the hiatus, was that I think everybody realized that, because we started to get more offers for tours after that, and record labels started, we were sniffing hard and they were starting to sniff back. And I think that it showed everybody, because we were all fresh out of high school for the most part, and I think everybody kind of realized that the next step was going to be really sacrificial in nature. And in nature. And I don't think that everybody was really prepared to do that, and wanted to go to college and stuff. So I was 19 and a half when things stopped, and I'm just turned 26 now. So, but we feel better than ever, man. I mean, it feels like I'm glad, because the band that we were before is just like not even remotely like this band. And like, it's so much better and so much stronger.
So how many of I know the drummer is different. Are all the other members original members of the band?
So yeah, Andre and Nick were part of the main lineup that we would be known for people who do remember us.
Okay.
We went through a lot of lineup changes over the years. And the original drummer obviously is gone. The original guitar player is gone. He's in his own band. They're called Gunset Passion. One of my best friends in the whole world. And things changed and we go our separate ways. But it's weird because, like I said, I mean, where I'm sitting now, looking back at all the member changes and everything, and like, it just feels like, everything does kind of work out for a reason, and that, obviously because the way I grew up, that was very difficult to take to heart, but I definitely feel like I choose to believe that, and I'm seeing things that would lead me to think that might be the case. That might be what's true. So.
Yeah, there's always the theory that you might not have been like mature enough to handle it back in the day.
Sure.
And now with the proper mindset, you might be able to like take this to where you wanted to take it originally.
Yeah.
So
solid. Yeah. Good take.
Yeah. It happens, man. That's why you see these like Hollywood kid stars get all messed up.
I know.
Because they weren't quite ready to handle all that crap that was thrown on them. But,
yeah, they get jacked up.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Macaulay Culkin.
He was left home alone. He was doing all sorts of freebasing and shit like that.
The main thing besides Home Alone is I know he's friends with Michael Jackson. That's it. That's the only thing I know about him.
Yes. There was like some movie that came out, it was a few years ago that I saw on like Netflix, and I was like, oh my God, Macaulay Culkin is something like this. It was called like Party Monster, and it was just him, and it looked like he had a rough life.
Yeah,
so,
burnt
Macaulay
Culkin, like burnt Adam Sandler.
Yes,
because if you see him now, he's burnt.
He's burnt in a different way though. he's not like I'm snorted up and burnt,
Yeah.
But he's just eating well.
Yeah. Who's the kid who played the John Connor in Terminator 2? Because he's also
Edward Furlong.
Yeah, he's jacked up too.
I heard that he got into some serious drug problems.
Yeah.
Poor childhood stars. So
yeah, that was a good take too.
I keep on finding myself in these positions where I was like, okay, let's figure out how to transition here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So screw it.
Yeah.
Let's just jump to this. When you're performing or somebody's listening to your album, what do you want them to feel? What do you want them to take away? Is there a certain something you want that you hope your audience gets from it?
I think that I'm an edgy person just by nature. It's just how I am, and I think that I want people to look past the temper tantrum, like I mentioned, and look past the theatrics and realize that it's not a show for attention.
Okay.
I am expressing something that is deep within me. And I know that sounds kind of like weird and melodramatic again, but yeah, but I don't have ulterior motives like that. I mean, when I was a teenager, everybody has ulterior motives, and I definitely was one of them. But yeah, I'm legitimately just doing music and performance art because it's who I am. That's it. And I think that if I can kind of like break the ice a little bit around somebody maybe who, would not be otherwise, like, I mean, I talk about ghosts and it's like it's a story of two kids in a haunted house essentially. And there's a lot of things about that, layers to that, things that and like I said, I only sing about what I've experienced, what I believe, what is true to me. So, people who kind of like dust off things like, oh, well, I just don't think that ghosts are real or, spirits or whatever. And like, I think that if somebody came, I want them to leave questioning that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think you should check out a guest that I've had on the show. They do like a web series called The Haunted Bay. Okay. They go around to different locations in the Bay Area that are said to be haunted, and they go in there. It's not like the ghost shows you see on like cable,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, oh my god, did you hear that? Where everybody's acting like spooked and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They kind of go in there, kind of wanting to believe, but wanting it to
Skeptical?
be proven to them.
Sure.
You know, so they haven't necessarily said that. They'll say they found some interesting things or something that they can't quite explain, but
Yeah.
they haven't quite 100% been, that is paranormal. But
There's things that I've experienced that I will never be able to explain, man. And I mean, like, I wish, I wish that that they weren't real. I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like, and things that, like, I struggled sleeping and I do struggle sleeping a lot, like, to this day. Like, I mean, I have raccoon eyes, but that's hereditary. But, like, a lot of people always ask, like, do you sleep? And I'm like, normally I shrug it off, and I'm like, this is just how I look, man. You don't like the way I look, take it up with God, man. Like, just, like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, I mean, truthfully, like, there's just, I mean what I'm saying on the record, floors creaking, things like that. Like, there's just things that and not just little things, because anybody can have a door shut or, floors creaking or whatever. But I've had legitimately, like, traumatizing things happen to me that I don't really share often unless I'm in I know that's like a lot of people are like, that's a cop out. Tell us, man. But it's like, if we really get, into it, then I'd love to share. But,
I think you're just teasing us here, man.
I don't know. Come to the show, like, I don't know. It's like when I went to the Winchester Mystery House, like, when I was a teenager, and it was a midnight tour, Halloween. I asked, like, so have you, because she did seances at like 3 a.m, like, all the time and all this stuff. And I'm like, so, what have you experienced in this house? And he's like, well, I can't tell you because it's the policy. And I was like, okay, that's a cop out. Same thing that people say to me. And like, he's like, no, I've experienced things in this house and I can't talk about it, but if you want to come on my lunch break, I'll tell you about it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, because, I don't know. I saw that movie Paranormal Activity. My ex-girlfriend took me to it when I was like 17 or 18, and I couldn't sleep for a month.
Really?
Without the light on.
I fell asleep during the movie.
Man, I wish I fell asleep during the movie, because I know it's like silly now to look at, but like that traumatized me, man.
Hey, man, maybe if I would have stayed up during the movie, I'd have a different experience to it, but I've always referred to it as paranormal nap time for me.
Paranormal nap time.
Because I passed out during the movie, man, and that was in the theater. So I felt like I got ripped off, but...
Yeah, maybe you got your money's worth. People like in America like horror movies because I think I've read somewhere that the adrenaline rush is like similar to sex. Just honestly, like,
Oh, I guess
that's people like that. Ooh, like whatever. So.
Yeah. Like, I used to dislike horror movies when I was little, not because they scared me. It was because they didn't scare me a lot of the time. So it was until Army of Darkness,
it's a great movie,
with Bruce Campbell came out, that I was like, oh shit, horror movies aren't necessarily just to scare you. They can be funny too.
I know.
Even ones that aren't intentionally funny.
I love that movie. The
Yes.
fact that he like sways the whole village with a high school chemistry textbook and like, this is my boomstick. Like, oh man, I love that movie.
Yo, she bitch. Let's go.
I love that movie, man.
All right, man. So I do have one final question for you.
Hit me.
But before we get to that question, where can people find you on the internet? Where's your corner of the World Wide Web?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Johnny Knockout. There's no H in Johnny, Jonny. Knockout, just like one word, knockout.
Okay.
And you can find my band, She Waves the Flag, you can Google us. You can see, our Rinky Dink video that we did, our DIY video from like years ago, but be on the lookout for a new one. You can go to our Facebook, facebook.com/She Waves the Flag, one word. Instagram, all that. Yeah, all the typical places.
All right, cool. And you can find your music on Spotify, Bandcamp, and
iTunes, all that, Spotify.
Tidal, stuff like that.
Yeah, Amazon MP3, whatever.
All right, so you can pretty much all the digital medias. Where can they go to get an actual CD?
So I mean, we're gonna be playing some shows pretty soon, and we're obviously gonna lug them around wherever we go. We got some merch coming out, some pretty cool stuff. I like it. Yeah, it's some really good artwork. Really that ties into the record. Yeah, just I mean, you can come get it at a show, or I think we will set up an online merchant website, like a big cartel or something.
Okay.
Where and we'll do a bundle or something. Yeah.
All right, sounds good, man. So, check them out online. Google is your friend, and Google She Waves the Flag. Now, it is time for that one final question, Johnny.
All right.
The title question of the show.
Hit me.
No, I'm gonna make you wait a minute. No. All right, Jonny Gomez. How do you live uncontained?
I live uncontained by doing all the things that I just told you, by being who I am and just not giving a shit what other people think. And I'm not doing that no more. And I'm just sick of it. And I'm going to be exactly how I am. I'm not going to change for anybody. I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm going to experience life the way that I'm experiencing it. And and I'm an individual. And I'm just, I don't want to be defined by anything but my individuality. So that's how I live uncontained, because you can't contain Jonny Gomez, because I'm zany and nutty and crazy. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me on the show, man. It's been really great talking to you. Kind of jumped all over the place, which is always kind of fun. Yeah. And one final thing to do before I let you get out of here. All right, and that's sign off the show.
All right.
Johnny, will you do me the honor of signing off the show?
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody who took the time to listen. I am Jonny Gomez, and I live uncontained.
And that does it for another episode of Uncontained. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Jonny Gomez for joining me on the show today. And, make sure you check out Uncontained on all of the socials. It's at Uncontained Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and on the World Wide Web at www.uncontainedpod.com. And I just threw those wwws in there for those people who still think you need to type them. But I guarantee you it will work without it. Anyways, thank you for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.